doing? Hope you're enjoying this hot weather. Hope your air conditioning is working.
Yes, Lord.
And if the air conditioning ain't working, find a nice shade tree. It's a little bit of a breeze out there. It's just a beautiful, beautiful day, and we're thankful. This is the day that the Lord has made, and not only will we rejoice, and we're going to rejoice, and we're going to find a way through it all to be thankful for breathing the fresh air, for seeing the sun shining, for hearing the birds singing, seeing people getting up and going about their way, seeing the children on their last days of school. They all got a little extra pep in their step because they're going to be able to sleep a little later, hopefully. And hopefully this is going to be a summer of productivity, a summer of growth, a summer of peace, and hopefully joy and success and prosperity in the city of Baltimore. Please welcome my co-host, Wayne Monroe.
What it do, family?
And Mr. Leo Burrows, Jr.
Praise God, from whom all blessings flow, and praise the Lord and pass the ammunition for justice, decency, and fair play.
Yes, and the un-American way, get rid of that crap. And also our new producer and co-host, too. He's a man of many colors and many talents, Mr. Jason Rodriguez.
Good morning, family. What it do?
Yeah, what it do? He's Coppin Wade. Okay, what it do? For all of you oldies out there that don't know what it do means, it means how are you? I have to break it down. Sometimes I have to take a double peep myself. What do they say? What it do? Okay, what it do? We are saying in Texas, Wade, they say, well, I'm going to do it for don't.
Right.
Okay, that means you're going to do all right if you don't do, you know what I mean? You got a choice. You do okay if it's okay, but if you don't do okay, you try. You know what I mean?
Still going to make it happen.
You're still going to make it happen. Welcome to each and every one of you. Many of you know that the mayor had her call to action at Baltimore City Community College this past weekend, this past Saturday, and I have to say it was well organized, and that's my alma mater. So anytime I go back to BCCC, there is a joy in me because I went back to school at such a late stage of my life, but I went to the best school. I don't care what nobody tells you, with some of the best professors in this city, or at Baltimore City Community College. And I learned how I learned, Wayne. And that was the first course. They call it the prep course, college prep course. And once I learned how I learned, I made almost straight A's.
That's one of the most important things, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, knowing what's the best tactics
for
your studies.
Yeah,
you know
how you learn. You know, I learned that I do better. I can read all day long, but until I go and talk to somebody about it, it's not, consummated in my brain. So we all have different ways of learning. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the call to action. Like I said, it was very well organized, and there were hundreds of people there, and there were various workshops that tapped into many areas that are in need of care and attention for the city. And I attended the child development program with Derek Chase and was it Abdul Salam? Is that his name? A guy call him Jamie. Jamar. Well, I call him Jamie, but you all know who I'm talking about. And they deal a lot in mental health issues within the community. And I was listening to Larry Young's show this morning, and everybody is talking about our children. There was an article on the front page of the Baltimore Sun on yesterday, and the title of that article was "Caught in a Web of Retaliation." Caught in a web of retaliation. And it tells the story of the young rapper who was killed, I believe it was last year.
Lil Scooter.
Yeah. His body was riddled with bullets in the front seat of his gray Honda as he left an anti-violence rally at Morgan State University last June. Transfixed his friends and fans in Baltimore and beyond. Little notice at the time, there was another shooting across town a few hours earlier. Investigators now say that it was the shooting that set the brazen attack on Scooter into motion. Authorities say Scooter's alleged killer, Cortez Mitchell, targeted the rapper because a friend of Scooter's had shot a friend of Mitchell's. In that way, they say, it was another retaliation killing of the sort that has helped drive the historic spike in violence now seizing the city. I'm reading from the front page of the Baltimore Sun on yesterday. It goes on to say, It was also an example of how crude the system of street justice can be, literally striking not just the perpetrators, but also family and friends. Supporters say Scooter had largely turned away from street life in order to pursue a promising career in music. He still wound up in the crosshairs. It's like that old saying, if I can't get you, I'll get someone close to you, says Detective Curtis McMillan, who investigated the case. That's just the way the street is. Scooter's friend, Fred Catchings, is scheduled to go on trial this week on charges of attempted murder. He pleaded not guilty. His attorney declined to comment. Mitchell, who police say killed Scooter, was himself shot to death in his car 4 months later. More retaliation, authorities believe. The sequence is outlined in court filings in Catchings' attempted murder. Now, this is really interesting. I sat there, I got the paper yesterday, and I went home last night, and I wanted to read it. Mm-hmm. And I want you all to listen to what I'm going to read to you. I'm going to take a little time, crew, just to let the people know in case they didn't read this article. In the case of the shooting of Mitchell's friend, Devontae Robinson, and in a police document that lays out the department's argument for closing Scooter's killings. Killings in the city have surged in the last 2 years and are reaching new highs in 2017. The city suffered 344 homicides in 2015, the deadliest year per capita, and 318 in 2016, with 152 homicides through Saturday. It's now on pace to blow past those numbers. Daniel Webster, director of the Johns Hopkins Center for Gun Policy and research, said retaliation is certainly an important component of the spike and a vicious cycle that is difficult to interrupt. Detectives get caseloads that they just simply cannot stay on top of and have the outcomes that they're used to have with each case, the ability to close any given case reduced, Webster said. When more cases go unsolved, you have that many more people out there seeking their own justice on the street. Scooter, whose real name is Tyrese Watson, grew up in West Baltimore. One of his last recordings on his live from the trenches, mixtape. The 23-year-old rapper name-checked his childhood pal, his name was Catchings. He listened to this line. He says, shout out to all my soldiers. Free Fred, that's my Woody, or close friend. Scooter and Catchings, now 24, both grew up around Pennsylvania Avenue. It's where Scooter honed his skills as a rapper and found inspiration for his lyrics. His mother described the process. She says, most of the time he was around me. He was with his notebook and with his earphones on, Lita Pearson recalled last week. As Scooter was rising to the top of Baltimore's rap scene, Catchings was incarcerated and battling ongoing legal trouble. As a youth in the state's juvenile justice system, Catchings, he escaped from custody twice. Okay, he escaped from the police while he was in custody, y'all. State police said scaling a fence at the Charles Hickey School in Baltimore and later fleeing from the BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport as officials attempted to transfer him to a facility out west. Listen to this. At one point, while being escorted through the Baltimore Juvenile Justice Center, he kicked a table into the stomach of a pregnant case worker. A prosecutor said in court records. The prosecutor said Catchings then yelled that he hoped she lost her baby. Catchings' father says his son suffered from the harmful effect, listen to this, of lead paint. A common affliction among young people in West Baltimore. Its kids malfunctions from lead, and they don't care about nothing, Frederick Catchings Sr. said. Catchings said his son received a six-figure, that was over, man, 6 figures, $1 million. Mm-hmm. He received over a six-figure settlement in a lead paint lawsuit, but the money was quickly spent and did nothing to fix his problems. In late 2014, Catchings was arrested and charged with attempted murder. He was accused of shooting a man in the face after trying to steal a puppy. Mm-hmm. Do y'all hear this? See, how long have I been saying? How long have we been saying? How long has the city been saying? Do you realize that 40% of all of the young people that are arrested and go to the detention center downtown, 40% of them have mental problems? And you can attribute that to lead, y'all. Come on. A few months earlier, Scooter had released Bird Flu, an ode to drug dealing that became one of the most popular songs in local rap history. He collaborated with another star, Shy Glizzy, on a video for that song that followed. Over the next year, he collaborated with The Game and won praise from P. Diddy. Kenny Jones, 42, is a member of Scooter's entertainment group, Young Balling Shining. He says Scooter had plans on moving to Atlanta, New York, or California to focus on his music. Jones and Alex Savage, another YBS member, said Catchings was not a performer affiliated with YBS, but often tagged along with Scooter. That was his friend who made him feel good, and it was sometimes felt genuinely had his back, Savage thought. On Still in the Trenches 3, Scooter mentions Catchings. I ain't gonna read that poetry. But to tell y'all how this all happened, how the whole thing got started, supporters say the lines were lyrical boasts. Catchings was acquitted by a jury in January 2016 and released from jail for that. Scooter's mother recalled her son's reaction. "Ma, guess home." Devontae Robinson, 24, was walking home in the 1400 block of North Mount Street near Gilmore Homes at about 1 p.m. last June. Police say when cameras captured Catchings jumping from the passenger seat of a black SUV and opening fire. Robinson was struck in the back, buttocks, and thigh, but would survive. Police say Catchings' actions sent Robinson's friend out into the city to seek revenge. They found their opportunity several hours later, police say, at an anti-violence charity basketball game that Scooter was hosting and Catchings was attending at Morgan State in Northwest Baltimore. The event broke up early, shortly before 7. Security cameras captured Scooter walking to his car. Another vehicle passes him, then makes a sudden U-turn and heads back into his direction. Police called to the 2700 block of East Cold Spring at 6:57. Officers arrived to find Scooter's car crashed into a corner store with the rapper's body inside, dead, and a hail of bullets. His girlfriend, Taylor Johnson Henderson, known by her rap name Sneaky T, had been in the passenger seat. She was not shot. She declined an interview last week, saying in a statement she was still healing from the traumatic experience and praying for Scooter's family. 2 weeks after Scooter's shootings, Catchings was pulled over in a vehicle with what police say was a Beretta 9mm handgun. Police say the weapon matched the ballistics evidence from the non-fatal shooting of Robinson and a separate triple shooting in which the victims were shot in the legs. Prosecutors say in court filings that Catchings confessed to the first shootings, telling detectives that he knew Robinson from an ongoing conflict with some of his associates. Catchings further stated that he believed Robinson had contracted to shoot him, and as a result he went out, found Robinson, and shot him first. I'm not going to read anymore. Yeah, Leo, please go ahead.
Yeah, well, it is a super tragedy, and we're in a crisis, and we seem to stay in a crisis in Baltimore and throughout our nation in large cities. But I just want to point out that it is my belief that the system aids and abets retaliatory violence. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do a better job with our families and community in preventive actions that ensure that people have jobs and that they have the right kind of standards of ethics and decency. Mm-hmm. But I've got to point to the fact that there's an unlimited number of guns, mm-hmm. an unlimited number of drugs that are available in our society, and the leaders, especially at the legislative level, and at the police level, whether it's city, state, or federal, don't seem to know how to cope with it or don't want to do anything about it. Mm-hmm. I still say that the violence we're having in our major cities has everything to do with drug abuse, drug utilization. We're talking about at least 85-90% of the violence occurring in major cities and black communities is a consequence of the availability of drugs. We know, our government knows where the drugs are coming from. We know how the drugs are manufactured. Mm-hmm. We're not targeting the poppy fields in Afghanistan or anywhere else.
We're protecting them.
We're protecting them. Mm-hmm. So my question to Paul Sarbanes and to Chris Van Hollen and Congressman Elijah Cummings and all these federal officials, why can't we continue to campaign to do what they feel is impossible? You've got to fight the National Rifle Association and the Fraternal Order Police and all those groups that would have us maintain the status quo. You say this has no relevance to this situation. That's not true at all. It has everything to do with it. When drugs are confiscated in our city, and when guns are confiscated in our city, they're supposed to be incinerated or dismantled and destroyed. Too frequently, we believe that the drugs come in the door of the police department, the guns come in, and they go out the back door. Some of our officers, I didn't say all of them, but some of our officers are putting drugs back on the street after they seize the drugs. And so I got to look at the Drug Enforcement Administration federally and the tax group, you call them the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Group. ATF. And I'm saying, why can't these groups do what they're charged with doing? I think they have been compromised, bought and paid for, and our bankers are still laundering drug money everywhere in this nation. So the hypocrisy that we face cannot be avoided, and it factors into the reality of what happens in black communities. If this was happening in Roland Park, in white communities, then there'd be a different kind of effort to deal with it. The average white person, the vast majority of white people, will hang their heads and say, and cry and wipe their tears, if that, and not respond to what is impacting black people. And we've got to hold our elected officials accountable and the police department.
I agree with you 100%.
I think the other question is whether or not, do we have a smoking gun or not here? Because every time we hear these articles, we always hear about lead paint. Lead paint.
That's
lead
right.
paint settlements, you know. So do we have a smoking gun here? Is the common denominator, the common factor here, that we have these poisoned environments that create other conditions and other situations in our community?
You're right.
You know, we really need to take a look at this factor, especially when you look at circumstances like Flint and what's taken place recently in Flint. And when you look at the water management in Flint, and you know that we have some issues within our water department here.
Yes.
So who's to say that we're not dealing with some of the same lead issues within our drinking water?
We're not saying that we are,
we're
and
not.
because we
We're not
are,
sounding the alarm.
because I believe, Wayne, did you want to say something? Because
Yeah,
I'm getting ready to
yeah,
go
in.
into
I know.
a level that has not been brought up.
And I'm glad you brought up the Flint thing because of the fact that it's been articles that came out that said that Baltimore's lead level was higher than Flint's. You know what I mean? And they haven't raised as much hell here as they did in Flint.
That's right.
But, you know, my thing, man, is really coming to the family. You know what I mean? The community, the folks that are out here doing something in the community, and the folks that are not. You know what I mean? We got to hold ourselves accountable. Yeah, Big Brother Leo is absolutely right. And we try to keep our elected officials' feet up against that fire. You know what I mean? But it takes everybody coming out and getting involved to if you really want to see change. You know what I mean? You stand inside of your house looking at the television and Facebook pontificating on these in your little write-ups, you know what I mean? When you should be outside talking to these kids. You know what I mean? Asking them, you know, how can I help? What do you need? Where are you going? What do you want? You know what I'm saying? Just question them. Yes. You know what I mean? Because a lot of them, you know, are really seeking help. You know, I mean, and I'm not going to criminalize our kids. We got enough folks doing that. Everybody keep thinking that a jail cell is the answer for our children. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, you know, no, I think that more so we need our folks to get out and get involved. We need to ask the Muslim community to step out and get involved. We need to ask our church family to step out and get involved. Because everybody's sitting up in there on their high horse. And like Pat said, you so heavenly bound that you know earthly good. You know what I mean?
Let me say also, I'm not going to let it go, and none of us should. We had, 150 Baltimore City Public School employees who were fired or laid off.
Yes.
Now, this is the forgotten answer. Why can't we restore those people to duty?
Yes.
What is it that prevents us from bringing those people back to where they need to be? We're closing schools. We're firing people. We're laying them off and saying this is not part of the problem. The part of the problem is that there is not the political will in this state and many states to deal with the issues attendant to education that affect our children. And until we, again, And I don't disagree with the family. Now, I understand that, but I also know that some of these children don't have families. That's another question.
Right.
But why can't the mayor address this issue? Lisa Santalises, is that Lisa her first name? Sonia Santalises. Why can't she address that? Why can't Mike Miller, the president of the state Senate, and Mike Bush, the president or the speaker of the House of Delegates in Annapolis, since we're funded by the state, etc., why can't we address making sure that our schools want for nothing? There shouldn't be a problem in education. Education should be the priority in terms of funding, et cetera, and it is not. And until that happens, we're gonna continue to go downhill.
Which we shouldn't be going downhill because of the fact that there's too many of us standing by watching the show.
But I'm going to take a couple of calls, and I'm going to come back at the top of the hour. I'm going to listen to all of you all, and I hear you. But I think that the problem is something that we are not taking seriously enough. And I want to talk about that. Cliff, thank you for calling. You've been holding for a minute. Welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. 410-481-1010 if you'd like to call in. And we are live on Facebook. Go to Patrick Henderson's page on Facebook if you'd like to look up on us. Cliff, welcome to the show. You have a question or comment?
Oh, brother, thank you so much. All you gentlemen are right on point. But also let me add to this that, and I'm going to go biblically, we are that chosen people. We are that people in the chosen land of Israel, and we have been enslaved, and Moses has brought us out. But what we're doing right now, brothers, we have turned our back on God as a people.
Ramel, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment, sir?
I have a comment.
Thank you.
Listen, I have a response to what Brother Leo was saying, and I've been saying it for a while. We focus on us. In this drug problem, the problem is those Europeans that are supplying those drugs and those guns in our hands while they make sure that we stay miseducated, unemployed, and they make sure a great rate of us live in poverty. Therefore, the dope and the gun, and we'll fight over what they call the turf. We kill each other over turf that ain't ours, And until we deal with that, we're not going to get that. Nothing's going to happen because right now, war has been declared on us in this chemical, biological,
economical,
psychological, and it's mainly spiritual.
And economical. Don't forget economically. Yes. That's the main one.
That's all a part of it.
Yes,
that's
sir.
part of the psychological part of it. We just, and right now, we at battle, and ain't nobody going to stop this but us.
Yes, sir.
If we don't do it, it's not going to happen.
I agree with you.
That's why I don't even call them politicians. They're politricians. They are part of what they call politics.
Yes,
and many of them, bloodsuckers of the poor.
Yes, sir.
Until we get up and do something for ourselves, we ain't got nothing coming.
You're absolutely
Yes,
thank you so much,
brother.
Ramel. That is absolutely one of the core issues that I want to talk about. Rick, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment, sir?
I have a couple comments, Pat. I mean, number one is, why are we making excuses for negative behavior? We talking about, well, we can't lock them up. So we supposed to let these people who shoot and kill, and we don't supposed to lock them up. We supposed to just let them cause havoc. And then second of all, we talking about, well, jobs. You give, if I come and have 1,000 jobs available, some of these individuals not even qualified for a job. They don't even have work ethics and stuff.
Can't
and
read.
Just giving somebody a job is just not the answer because they may last 2 days on a job. I mean, so it's more than that. But, I'm just tired of, we as blacks, we making excuses for negative behavior, and we want to blame everybody else, and we don't want people to take culpability for their own actions. And I'm saying that's the problem right there. We want to give them pad. Oh, they're killing each other and this, that, and the other. I mean, one of the solutions is the fact that we need to deal with people who are on drugs, because the bottom line, you can have pounds and pounds of drugs in the community, but it's about supply and demand. Get the people off of drugs, and then the drug boys, they don't have a clientele.
I don't understand what he's saying. I really don't I don't understand it because we never said to give black people who commit crimes a pass. Right. Nobody said that.
You just said don't be locking people up.
No, that was me
saying that.
No, hold on.
Right,
Let me clear it up. That was me. Yeah. And my thing is that, you know what I mean, we should not be going and jumping gun ho to lock our children up. Look what happened to us in the 90s. Model. You know what I'm saying? When we look around this country, You know what I mean? And these white folks that are doing these crimes,
what about
they
the individuals who are committing crimes and you're saying not lock them up? What we supposed to do?
Listen, listen what I'm saying. If you listen to what I'm saying, brother, you will understand what I'm saying. And basically, I'm saying plain and clear that these are children. These are not. I ain't talking about grown folks who out here doing the same dumb crap all their lives.
15,
listen
16,
to what I'm saying.
17-year-olds, right.
Listen to what I'm saying, and you understand what I'm saying, bro.
Carjacking and killing folks, and they supposed to just get a pass.
No, I didn't. Did I say that?
No.
Listen to what I'm saying, and you understand what I'm saying, brother. That's all. I listen to you. All right, Pat, cut the line. My whole thing is that there's so many of us that feel this way.
Right.
They want to criminalize our folks.
Right.
They want
And
to
that's what led
criminalize
to
our
the zero
children.
tolerance.
And exactly.
Right.
But when these white folks are out here doing just as much crime,
Yeah.
bringing in more drugs,
Yeah.
bringing in these guns,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? You're talking about the ones that fell victim to it. They just had these articles in Baltimore Sun the past 2 months when they talked about the miseducation of black people in Baltimore since we were brought here to Baltimore, and we want to turn around and lock up the same folks who've been victimized. No, what I see in the white community is that I see counseling. You see what I'm saying? What I see is I see funding.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To the schools and to these families.
And understanding.
And understanding.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? When they got understanding for their own community, for their own kids. When are we going to have that for ours?
But
when you forgot that you was out here in these streets too?
Right.
Yes.
And might have been a knucklehead at one
It
time.
might have been a knucklehead. Then what if
And
somebody threw away the key and locked you up?
Okay.
I support Marilyn Mosby's tough stance on crime.
Yes.
As I think most of us do. If you're
course,
convicted
yes.
of a crime and you can be, and there's evidence beyond a shadow of a doubt you're convicted, go to jail. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
I have a problem with people who don't respond in the government. When government fails to respond to the solutions
Correct.
that the community has provided, the community knows the solutions. The question is government listening,
Correct.
and will government respond to these solutions? We know what the solutions are.
I'm going to say this to the gentleman that just hung up. Wayne and I have gone, especially after the riot. We went to community associations. We even went. I went to the police meetings that they have once a month, and I was shocked at the number of people, elderly people, who had the mentality of lock them up. We're the police. I cried. Because I realized this is what it is, that we feel like the police can solve all of our problems, problems that we didn't create, problems that have been sustained for generations.
Hold on, Pat.
Nothing. And so I don't want that gentleman to think that we're saying not to treat crime as crime.
And when I did the crime, I did the time. And when I sat there in that cell, I said, you know what? It was meant for me to be here. You see what I'm saying? I took responsibility for what I had done and did my time and came out and said, I'm going to change my life and the lives of the folks around me. But the whole thing is that we cannot keep criminalizing our children. We cannot keep criminalizing our children. I was at a meeting over there at Mervo, and all those folks got agitated because I raised my voice. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm hooping and hollering about you talking about giving mandatory sentences to children, and a room full of black people will stand up and applaud. You see what I'm saying? And I said, well, y'all forgot what happened to us in the 90s? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Y'all forgot about all these black men that was on their way to work that got locked up for standing on the corner. They locked them up for loitering when they was on a bus stop going to work.
Zero tolerance.
You forgot all of that just happened. Now you're talking about mandatory sentences for children. Won't y'all take that crap in the county where the kids out there beat their parents with a hammer to death? When these kids out there robbing folks at the ATM machine. When they got these meth labs up under daycare centers out in the county. You don't even see none of this stuff come across the news. But when it comes to our kids who have been victims, you know what I mean? Who are the victims of systematic racism, who are the victims of miseducation, who are the victims of poverty. You got a jail cell for them? Right. You talking about generational poverty. We was out there at the thing with Freddie Gray when they did the 2-year
the anniversary. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And it was and it was just heart-wrenching looking at his family. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? You talk about generations of folks who've been in those projects since they were built.
We must love ourselves
we have
more.
To.
And each other.
We must love ourselves more.
You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010 Baltimore. You don't want to touch that dial, trust me.
WOLB Baltimore, a Radio 1 station where information is power. And the official station of the Universal Circus at Security Square Mall, May 31st through June 18th.
Welcome back. I really want to tell everybody, you need to go. You see that Universal Soul
Amen.
thing. You really do. In fact, there are very few circuses now, and this sounds like a very unique one. I'm going to try to get out there.
It's wonderful.
That's what I
was
hear.
there.
You
last
were there?
week. Yeah,
I to make it every year.
My organization was represented,
Yes.
thanks to Larry Young and others.
Yeah, who got free tickets. They had over 2,000 free tickets given to children.
Well, we were very much represented. It was a wonderful, magnificent
Well, I just wanted to
circus.
throw that in, but I ain't giving no.
Talking about black empowerment and black ownership.
Yes, but
that circus is reflective of Cedric Walker, the owner, and native Baltimorean, who's the founder of that circus. Praise God.
Yes. We're excited for them. Bubby, welcome to Patrick
Big
Henderson's
bro.
Meet the People. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Love the conversation, gentlemen. I was privileged enough to attend that call to action at CCB that the mayor did. And I was kinda,
BCCC,
Yes, sir. I was kind of perplexed. There was no housing entities there, no development entities there. And I think in premise it was a good idea. But when you got the same old faces that have been doing the same thing for 20 years, you get the same old results. And I graduated from Frederick Douglass, and they taught us how to add. And I would say under Kevin Davis' tenure at the Baltimore City Police Department, there'd been over 825 murders, and he's still employed. My whole argument was I attended the class with Professor Dr. Tyrone Powell,
Yes,
of
Powell.
Baltimore. Why he's not the Baltimore Commissioner of Baltimore City?
Powers.
Dr. Powers.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, we must keep in mind, everybody talks about what we're not doing and we're not together. But when you got other entities who control the economics, turning us against each other because they put something behind your name or in front of your name, that's the problem. And I'm about ready to get off now. But today I received calls from the mess going on at the Baltimore City Housing Authority. I emailed Jack Young. I emailed Jill Carter. I was contacting the mayor's office all last week. No one called me back. The mayor, who have not yet appointed a commissioner or an executive director
Of housing.
of housing. Remember, it's two entities. The problem was they turned it into one and gave Mr. Graziano too much power. But they have a chief of HR, Kimberly Graham, who information was turned over to her, and she chose, just like the prior HR chief, not to do nothing. And remember, they promoted Nick Carlace. He's now the COO of the Housing Authority. What kind of mess is going on? Would someone have the man call me and explain her rationale for keeping these people employed there?
Did you write emails or did you call?
I emailed. I called the mayor, but I emailed Jack Young and Jill Carter. But when I spoke to someone in Anthony McCartney's office, a young lady, she was persistent on me emailing her my information.
Yeah.
See, that's how I got in trouble the last time.
Well, it was good trouble. It was good trouble. It was good trouble. And I'm sorry you have to go through it, but I'm glad that you're not giving up. It is amazing when you think of it that the people that were a part of the past few years of total corruption in the housing are still there. Now, maybe she hasn't found somebody she's been in office 6 months now. Maybe
I'm available.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I hear you.
And that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Sister Mayor, I beg you humbly to instill my man.
Yeah, I know he's qualified. The experience.
Beyond qualified.
God bless y'all, and I'm still listening.
Thank you, big brother.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go to Cliff. I'm going to give you another chance. Cliff, are you there?
I'm sorry, bro. Yeah, but pretty much, I'm sorry for the interruption. Well, pretty much what I was saying is that we as a people are our own worst enemies. We have turned away from God. And what I'm saying is, as soon as we get back to God, and what I mean by that, brothers, what I'm saying is that when we start valuing and putting the love of money first, so our young rappers, it's all about money. They're not killing each other just out of hate, but there's always economics and there's money behind it. We got our preachers not getting involved in our community because they want offerings, and they're having and holding 4 or 5 offerings in the service, all about the money. This was even worse, brother. Our civil rights organization, the NAACP, and if there's ever a time we needed unity and we need representation for our community, now is the time under this present administration with Trump. But look what's happening with the NAACP. All of our money. So the CEO, Brooks, has been ousted because he hasn't raised enough funds. So this is where we at as a people, and with our love of money. And as soon as we stop this and get back, even with Christmas, all of us, look how many of us patronize Christmas. That got nothing to do with our culture and our history. Some fat white man in a red suit. So, brothers, what I'm saying is that we got to get back to self, our values. Let's celebrate Kwanzaa opposed to Christmas, and let's get back to those things that are valuable to us as a people. Am I making a little bit of sense?
Absolutely.
You did, and I, to an extent, the only thing when you say we've turned our backs on God, see, the one thing is, who is God to people? Right. You got to think about who is God to people. God is many things.
True. And I'm saying, and you're right, brother. And from a spiritual standpoint, we've lost our spirituality. And so, what's more important to us as a people right now is the money. And the love of money.
Because this is America. But wait. You can go on with your rhetoric. But the bottom line is, America is built on capitalism. Mm-hmm. You can't function without money in this country.
Right, but what I'm saying is that that's not for us.
Why isn't it for us? How do
we should be valuing to the degree that we are valuing money like that. When I'm saying that you need money, sure, but let's come to collective economics.
I agree with that.
And get our community.
I agree with you, and I'm glad I came back to you, but I want you to know that we must be realists. You need money to live, and in America, you can make a lot of money if you get yourself together and get a plan.
Can I say this in closing, brothers?
Yes.
What I'm saying is, let's patronize each other.
I agree. We agree 100%.
That's all I'm saying. So take the economics. Patronize a black business.
Yes.
Patronize your HBCUs.
Yes.
Your black colleges. And that's all I'm saying, bro.
Yes.
Let's keep it within ourselves.
Yes, sir. I agree with you 100%. $1.4 trillion was spent by black people last year. Just 2% went to black businesses. Did you hear what I said?
Saying,
so, I'm with you 100%. Thank you, Cliff, and thank you for calling back. Did you want to say something, Leo?
Yeah. The caller... I'm responding to the caller, and he makes very positive points. I'm a supporter of Christmas, but I love Kwanzaa, and I think Kwanzaa is something we've got to focus our attention on in terms of a positive value system. I'm wondering what the Greater Baltimore Committee, which is presidented by Donald Fry, who's head of the Greater Baltimore Committee, the rich folks, what do they offer up as a solution to violence in our society? I'm curious about that because they're the heads of the Fortune 500 companies. They dictate to the politicians and the political establishments. They fund the campaigns. What do they offer up by way of solutions in terms of economics, given the fact that this is a capitalistic society? Mm-hmm. What are they offering constructively other than trying to tell the mayor that she should not do this and that? Because that's what they've been trying to do.
All right, I'm going to ask our producer, Jason Rodriguez, to see next week if we could get someone from the BDC to come onto the air and we can ask them.
Sure.
Because we're seeing some positive things happening from the BDC in our community. With them responding to us and making sure that we're being covered with the monies that we're getting from the lottery and the VLT and working very cooperatively with us. But the bigger picture, and I understand what you're saying, Leo.
The Greater
Baltimore, the BDC.
The Greater Baltimore Committee.
It's GBC.
That's Donald.
Okay, that's not
Donald Fry.
I'm sorry.
He's president, and that's the umbrella group
for the BDC.
Well, you've got Mayor Shattuck, Exelon, Constellation Energy.
Right.
He's the $25 million CEO for the energy industry here. I'm talking about the richest people, and we've got two black preachers also part of that, the Greater Baltimore Committee. They are the.
Who are those black preachers?
We're talking about Dr. Alvin Hathaway.
Yes, get his name.
From the...
so then he should be able to come and do some explanation.
Yes,
and
who
the
else? Other one would be the pastor at Douglas Memorial Community Church, whose name escapes me at this moment.
The young guy. It's not Yeary, is it?
Reverend Yeary.
Todd Yeary?
Todd Yeary is the pastor of Douglas Memorial.
Okay.
Those two men I know are members of the Greater Baltimore Committee.
Okay.
Now, my question would be, and of course, maybe we can get them on, because they're articulate. What are they saying to the Greater Baltimore Committee in terms of how they're going to provide leadership?
We'll find out.
And inclusion of people. I asked Stephen Walker, who's the mayor's representative, neighborhood representative, if they would include Roots of Scouting and other organizations that I'm affiliated with in discussions about mentoring and community. No response from that. Now, why? I don't know, because I've known Kathy Pugh for a long time, but I'm not getting any response when we go to them and say, can we be included in, at least in the discussion where we have input and we have expertise, not just from older people, but younger people. We're not being included in those decisions.
I'm going to direct you to Derek Chase.
Derek Chase
was over the childhood development. That's the seminar that I attended, and he handled it, managed it very well. But I did hear a lot of stuff that I felt like was putting the cart before the horse.
Isn't he the guy on North Avenue? Didn't he have a place on North Avenue? Didn't we meet with them about 6 months ago?
Remember the DOJ when
That's
we were doing
right.
the consent
I know
decree?
Derek Chase.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
we need to talk to him.
Let's
and
get him in here as well.
Okay, let's do that. We're going to go to Thomas. Thomas, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. How are you, sir?
Hey guys, how you guys doing today?
Hey, what's up, big bro?
How you doing?
Let's not forget one thing, okay? We got a city council person in Leon Pinkett who was a part of that organization. Why can't he come on and tell us?
No, he was BDC. He was BDC. He wasn't the Greater Baltimore. He was the Baltimore Development, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two different organizations.
Yeah.
They all still part of. They all pull money, Pat, from the same pot. Okay, They pull the money for the city of Baltimore.
A lot of money.
A lot of millions of dollars.
Hundreds of millions of
Baltimore. And let's not forget too, guys. One guy mentioned about we killing each other. Well, I want to beg the difference with that. Because with the closure rate of the Baltimore City homicide and police department is at 25 or 28%.
That's right.
How many black people doing all the killing?
Yes. Thank you for saying that, brother. Thank you for saying that.
With a closure rate of 25 to 28%, how can you tell me black people doing all the killing? When case in point, yeah, we got black people that's supposed to be in charge of this city, but do they really run anything in this city? You got Mike Miller and Mike Bush sitting in Annapolis that pulls all of them purse strings. You know?
Exactly. You hit it on the head.
Come on, guys. That we ought to be about the young people. And one thing that these folks are terrified of now, they're afraid that there's going to be another Freddie Gray, where the young people voice their opinions, go out and tear up things. Because, guys, when you start taking resources from the inner city and putting it in the harbor
and the county,
and taking it and sending money out to the county, which for the life of me, I still don't understand why they're doing that when the county's got its own pool of money. You know, it's just amazing.
Big tax.
It's amazing that the city officials haven't been charged with treason or embezzlement yet.
Or misappropriation. And I agree with you, Thomas. Even the money from the lottery.
Yeah.
We're finding out that they're sending the money, and them people ain't buying tickets up in here. Park Heights spend $3 million a month on lottery tickets. And then we still don't get the money back.
Park Heights Renaissance.
Not only that, guys, you got Mike Miller's son, who's actually the general counsel for the MGM National Harbor down there. Well, I mean, come on. All this money that they're making is because of political favors.
Of course.
Man.
Of course.
These guys, I mean, it ought to be a term limit on these guys.
Well, not only that, but why? But why is not, and then, you know, Madam Pugh, we're waiting on you. Well, you're doing some good stuff. But we got to realize that we've got to get money in here. I understand the cameras, the speed cameras are going to be activated in a few days. That's going to be pennies compared to the money that's coming in from this lottery. Why can't we stop that money from leaving here? Why is the money not proportionately given to the place where the money is made? That's the one thing. That's not unreasonable to ask.
Right.
Why can't the city get 60% of the revenue versus giving away 70-75% of it to the camera?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even with the school, there's enough money in that reserve VLT slots money to fund the schools.
I mean,
and stuff. But we can't keep thinking we're going to keep robbing the city on the backs of the poor. The poor don't have anything to give. Man. Those of us that are paying taxes and stuff are sustaining and helping those to try to keep the city going.
They're balancing the budget on the backs of the poor and the middle class.
That's what it is.
And they don't give it. The rich folks don't give a damn about our situation. And if we don't revolt and rebel in an organized fashion, there will be no change. Yeah, and that's my concern.
The thing about them red light cameras, guys, isn't it the same red light camera system that had all kind of problems with it?
Under Stephanie Rawlins Blake. Yes.
Millions of dollars from its citizens that they promised the money would be returned to the citizen. Hell, I'm still waiting on my money to be returned.
I am too, brother.
That's what I haven't got yet.
Yeah.
They're not going to return your money.
Thomas, this is Thomas Briggs Sr., right?
Yes, this is me.
I want to thank you personally for the contributions you made to the Unification Solutions, along with Majority League recital at Liberty Elementary School. I wanted my kids to be dressed to the nines. I wanted them to be dressed like professionals.
Amen.
And I dressed the girls in beautiful gowns, and the boys I dressed in black tuxedos. And Thomas Briggs paid for those tuxedos.
Amen.
Thomas, I want to thank you.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you for your contribution.
Yeah, thank you, big brother. Yeah, kids look amazing.
Our next young generation, man, that's coming up.
Yes.
And the politicians now, they got to remember one day that they're not going to be here always.
No.
And what would history is going to say about them?
That's
Were
right.
they a friend of the people, or were they against the people?
They're against the people.
People forget about history. That's what's wrong with Republicans.
Legacy. What's your legacy?
Yeah, exactly right. Thomas, thank you again, and be
Thank you,
blessed.
Thomas.
And
Yes.
we love you.
Tell
and
it like
thank
it
you,
is.
Riz, for-
And the crazy part about all of this, y'all, is that we're in Baltimore, right? And what state?
Maryland.
Maryland.
Ain't Maryland one of the richest states in this country?
Yeah.
So why are the counties getting the city water? 75% of this and 25%
Baltimore
of
County.
that from the you know what I'm saying? Like
We don't have black leaders who fight to represent our interests in Annapolis or at the city level to the extent we have to have it. And that's part of the answer. We don't have people who think like Wayne Amara in terms of representing our interests. They're scared, and they love Mike Miller more than they love their own families.
Well, you know, when I was minister of music at West Angeles, Bishop Blake used to say to me all the time, remember your position. Remember your position. Don't let other people tell you what you're going to do. That's your position. And do you think that our city officials, is that what you're saying? They don't know their position. They don't realize the power they have, or they have been
bought and paid for.
That's what your contention is?
That's my contention.
Is that true?
In my opinion, Cheryl Glenn, thank God for Cheryl Glenn. She has tried very hard and is still trying as head of the Legislative Black Caucus in Annapolis, and of course Senator Joan Carter Conway and a few others. But some of those black folks who hold elective office, who've been in office 25 and 30 years, are not working in tandem with her in a supportive way. And so she called for a special session of the General Assembly to deal with the medical marijuana disparity, in which all these millions, hundreds of millions of dollars are being given to white-owned companies. That has not been addressed. There has been no special session of the General Assembly.
But didn't the judge just rule on it? I just read the other day that a judge ruled on it.
Well,
let's see if they act on it.
But they have not. The disparity continues. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay,
no matter what the judge said, the disparity is such. We have no black-owned companies. You say, well, we should not address that. But again,
I didn't say
this
that.
is no, not you didn't. But the capitalistic society that we find ourselves in is such that we should get a piece of that action. We don't have a piece of it, and nobody's saying a damn thing. We kind of roll over and play dead. After the impetus for doing this was strong a month ago. Now all of a sudden there's dead silence. Maybe Cheryl will call in.
Well, I think
someone.
it's in the courts. I'm going to see if I can find that article, but I believe a judge ruled that they had to go back and reconsider and to make sure that it was covered. And in fact, I read that the family that has one of the biggest farms is not in Maryland. I think they're in Massachusetts or somewhere.
Always.
But it's a
New
black,
York.
but it's a black family. It's a black family. Don't get it twisted now.
They're just fighting to stay in the loop.
They fighting to stay in the loop, but they're not. I don't know if there are black farmers in Maryland that are trying to do it. And with that, do you think that would carry more credence or more concern?
I honestly don't know. I only know that we're not in it. In other words, we're not in it, and we haven't won it. And the same is true of the historically black colleges and universities.
That still hasn't been resolved.
Still hanging
but that's
like
what I mean.
a limb on a tree.
What is that?
And we're not pushing that agenda because we were bamboozled with the. And I give Doc Cheatham a lot of credit for captaining the
Shout out
effort.
to him.
He's done an outstanding job. Dr. Marvin, Doc Cheatham. Nevertheless, we're still on the hook. No answers. No answers. When are we going to get answers to meeting our needs as a people?
Now,
That's my concern.
Brother Thomas just left the air talking about how they took all this money from the speed tickets, from the cameras, and we still haven't seen that.
Never got the money back that they stole
but
from
that's,
us.
But that's what I'm saying. They're not going to give them
It's
the
like
money
they
back.
don't feel like they owe us, like we're worthy enough
But
to be
even after
compensated
you won a
for our,
case, you still don't receive the money.
You don't get your
Henderson.
money.
Yeah, right. Here we go. Mark, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Mark, before you speak, listen, lines are open, 410-481-1010, 410-481-1010, and we're also beaming and steaming and whatever on Facebook, Patrick Henderson's page on Facebook, 410-481-1010.
Praise the Lord.
Mark, are you there?
Yeah.
You please, yes, come here.
Hello.
Yes, you're on the air.
How you doing?
Yeah. My issue is right. I was having to go on Pennsylvania Avenue, and I was having this guy was looking for this meeting, as far as a community meeting. But I wound up finding it was in the back of Lafayette Market. There was like 20 people back there, and the issue I got out of it that this developers is coming in, and the folks already took control of this building across the street from Frank Reed Church. And then they're supposed to be working their way over to Booker T. But they want to come towards him, but they're trying to make sure it's locked in as a historic community. So this is where the bamboozle grade come in, because once they declare it historic, then they can get the historic preservation to keep the outer structure, and then when they lock in the value, then they could box them out. So they say, we're going to take these 3-story houses on Jew Hill, McCullough, put them in condos and lofts. Change the name. So they go automatically say, I want 1,500. So who can't play the game will be pushed away. And all since the Freddie Gray situation, only thing I went through there, they got a cleanup crew. They got guys walking around cleaning and sweeping the street. So that ain't really empowering the community. As far as they probably gave a couple of jobs out, but the real issues are still going on. If the CVS and all these other bootleg places is distributing all these pills to the streets. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
The pills. I went from Pat Mondawmin all the way down to Martin Luther King and asked every store, what do they support for the community? They act like they don't speak English.
Yep.
When I'm 55, when I came up, the black bars, the lounge bars, they sponsor flag football, baseball, everything. You buy the shirts, get your bus, transport you around, and that's what was going on. These guys, you going in. I told them, I say, when I was young, you couldn't even buy a knife out of the store. You had to go to a sporting goods store. Now, every store got all flavor knives.
Yep. I agree with you, sir. And he's absolutely right. And you go in there, Charles from Black Wolves is talking about it. How when you go in there, they don't speak English. They can collect your money in English, but they can't speak to you when you go in and ask them what are they doing. And it's especially, I've noticed
Selective English.
It's selective and selective amnesia, and we need to close them down. We really do. We really need to close them down. Some of those liquor stores, but them chicken boxes and those places, they're just there. They have no what is the word I want to use? No tolerance for us. We're just money to them. They care nothing about us. They don't give back in the communities. You go and ask them to give a box of chicken wings so you can have a cookout for the kids. And no can do. That's some bull doo-doo. Okay? Oh, yes, you can do. You're taking millions of dollars out of here as a community to your community, and you're not doing anything. But I'm not going to get off on that today. Right quick, I want to go to Brandon. Brandon, you've been holding. Thank you for calling in to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment, sir?
Yes, how you doing today, brother?
We're good. Thank
Good
you.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
This is one of my favorite shows because y'all are the realists.
Well,
Thank you, family.
I want to say to that last caller, he was on point 100%. Like, there's nothing I can really add to what he said because that's how I feel 100%.
Me too.
But one thing that I do want to say is that we can't expect people to love us more than we love ourselves.
Come on. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We can't do drugs and destroy our communities and expect for Koreans or other people of other races to come in and clean up our community or take care of us better than they take care of themselves. Like, we kill each other, so what do they expect? They like, okay, well, they They the ones that don't care about themselves and want to make money off of them.
But tell me this though: are we to let them off the leg? As though all of us do that?
Of
The
course
money
not.
they come in
Of course
doesn't
not,
have
brother.
written on it. I did this and I did that. The money's just green. So, but how do we explain them not having any heart or compassion for it? That's all we're talking about. And I hear you loud and clear. I do, but this is the part that I think is missing.
And one of the number one things in our community that destroys us the most are liquor stores and the music. And the music is coming from 92Q. That's all I got to say, brother.
All right, thanks. Well, we're not going to bite the hand that feeds us.
Well,
but,
look, I mean, and I understand what he's saying because the music, does have play a part in it, but the music has always been there. You know what I mean? As far as back when y'all
just talking about it.
Yeah, when y'all was young, I know. I was a couple folks that didn't want their kids listening to jazz.
Oh, jazz? What you talking about? My mama told us that Motown music was voodoo music.
Motown
music was voodoo music,
Right.
and I told y'all that they did research and they come to find out that the music was doom 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 doom. It actually locks into the heartbeat and it takes control of the heartbeat. You know, you get an elevator, you hear music. They used to play music in the offices, and they was playing Motown music at about the 3 or 4 o'clock. And when the people got through, they would be so tired, and they found out that music done locked into them heartbeat, and they got more work done. But they were so tired when they left out of there. It took control of their bodies. So, mama, them they wasn't voodoo; it was science. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? But music does have power.
Absolutely. I mean, and it really all boils down to the family. Yeah. I can't. We can hoop and holler and say 92Q playing this, 92Q playing that, but it's up to you, brother. You
but
know
it's
what
the
I'm saying?
culture too, and that's what you got to realize. That every generation has their own culture. I have a roommate, and 3 or 4 o'clock at night, I hear music in there playing. I go, "You listening to this time of the night?" He ain't just listening to it; he quoting every word of it. And it's stuff that I say, well, why do you think like that? What is it? But it's part of their culture, it's their environment. And you must realize that at a certain point, at puberty, parents lose control of their children to their peer, to the children's peers. That your peer has more influence over your child than you do at that point, because they are learning how to assimilate. They're learning how to act, to role play. And so they take precedence over.
But that's why it's important, like you said, to make our children critical thinkers, so that when they're in those positions, they can think for themselves. They can analyze, I'm going to listen to this music, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to go out there and act a fool like the music says to go out there and act. I'm going to watch this movie, but I'm not going to act out what I see in the movie. Right, because my mom gave me better sense. My parents gave me better sense.
But if they don't have critical skills, they won't do it. Leo, I'm going to try to get I'm going to hold on your point. Steve, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment?
Yes, thank you, guys. Thank you. Wonderful show today. The last quarter made a lot of good points there. When are we going to start holding parents accountable for their children? I think it needs to start there. Because I'm trying to figure out, I'm 40 years old. I'm trying to figure out from my mother's generation to my generation, how come we had parents, and how come we lost control of our kids? In the state of Pennsylvania, I don't know if they still do it. My daughter's mom, my oldest daughter's mother was living out there, and my daughter wasn't going to school, and they went and they locked her up. It changed her whole aspect of everything. And I don't believe jail is a tool of helping. I'm gonna be honest. But at the same time, when parents is out here letting their kids be out here, like 10, 11, 12 at night, doing all this harm to themselves and others, somebody's got to be accountable for it. I'm a believer. You need to start going after the parents.
Listen, I want y'all to stay tuned at 12:30. I'm going to tell you exactly what you're saying right there. This is what I'm going to spend the next half hour talking about. You are absolutely right, sir. That's where it starts. And I'm going to get all my calls. Thank you, Steve, for your commentary. It was right on target. Keep listening. We're going to go to Fred. Fred, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. 410-481-1010. 410-481-1010. Come with it, Fred. You got a question or comment?
Yeah, we were speaking a little earlier about mass incarceration and conviction. If you look at the criminal justice system carefully, it's selective incarceration when it comes to, if you commit a crime against the black community, you can go to jail and come back out in about a year.
If that long.
If you commit a crime against anybody white in this country, I have a friend of mine that's in jail right now. He's been in there since Kurt Smoke was the he ain't show nobody. Okay? But they stuck up a bunch of bars down in Hollandtown 30 years ago.
He's still in jail?
Still in there.
Oh, my God.
Okay? So that's why our community needs to look at this thing carefully and say, okay, we can't give our kids a pass. When you commit a crime, if you, like somebody shot a black girl in the face a couple of weeks ago, I mean, what kind of mindset is in a person that would shoot a woman like that? They need to be put away forever.
Yeah, but what, Fred, if the kid is lead paint poisoned?
Well, you have a point there, too, but think about this, Patrick. The project was right across the street from Lower Italy. When the riots happened in Baltimore City, they didn't even walk across the street. Let or not, if they had enough sense to know, if you go to Lower Italy, you won't be coming back. You know, maybe we need to have an armed militia in our community, which the Constitution calls for. We need to go around and, give some of these kids some conversations. I remember talking to one of my nephews about complaining about being incarcerated for selling drugs. And I told him, I said, you're lucky. If you lived in China, they would kill you. That's a fact.
Japan,
too. The devastation that it does to the community. And we do understand that we get caught up in things, and we allow the system to put us in different scenarios, but we have to make sure that we don't allow our kids or our community to prey on each other like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Fred. We appreciate that call.
Yes,
I agree with you 100%, which is rare sometimes, but I agree with you there. Marvin, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment?
Yes, I'm calling with some solutions.
Thank you.
What I come up with, all these churches, bars, liquor stores, hair salons, barbershops, small businesses, bakeries, you name it. What I'm thinking about is, I don't know how I can get it out there, but why all these businesses donate? Churches like Jamal Bryan of the world, New Psalms, these big mega churches. I'm sure they can donate $20 to $25 a month, along with all these hair stores and barbershops, beauty salons, cleaners, all these places in Baltimore. Just if they willingly donate $20 to $25 a month. Open up an account at Harvard Bank. Have 2 or 3 accountants oversee that money. Just immediately $20 to $25 a month.
And then do what with it? What would you do with the money?
Okay, with all that money, you can generate close to $2.5 million a month. You hire these teams, 14 or up. You get them to bring their ID and their birth certificate, and they report to a certain building, east side and west side. That can cover about 600 to 700 jobs a month at $10 an hour. As these businesses willing to volunteer, donate $20 to $25, and churches like Jamal Bryant and all these big churches, they can put $50 to $100 a month. That's what I'm considering.
You already know.
It's chicken feed.
Hey, them guys, 12, to me, teenagers, 14 going up, even grown-ups, 10 to $12 an hour to clean these streets, do some painting, get the city to bulldoze some of these houses where they can learn some contracting skills and rebuild these houses, and learning the skill at the same time. That is cover all their pay, because everybody calling in, what these people need jobs. Yeah, but you got to have some money to pay these people. You just can't say clean the alley. Once these kids start getting money in their hands, they can go to the downtown locker rooms and the True City
and buy $300 sneakers.
Clothes, but they're not selling drugs for it. They're learning the trade. Whatever they do with their money, that's on them. That's anybody. But they'll see if you and I on the corner, and I see you making this progress, and you're not selling drugs, and you getting this money in your hand, I would say, man, are they hiring for me? Because maybe that in turn grab somebody else to get them off the street. They see you buying clothes and whatever you doing with your money, and you're not out on the street catching the charge of about to get killed.
And hurting somebody.
That's the only way, because there's no money coming from nowhere else unless people volunteer, give that money, and put it in an account and let somebody oversee that, and then you can hire people that way.
That's very great. Thank you for calling with solutions. I'm going to go to Melvin. I'm going to try to get everybody. Melvin, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People, 410-481-1010. You better come quickly, because at 4:45, I'm going to take the helm, and we're going to talk about what I believe to be the root of the problem and what we can do about it. Melvin, you have a question or comment, sir?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I have a comment. I'm a graduate of Morgan State University, but also I have experience unfortunately, in most of the jails in Maryland. What I observed is that rap music has undue influence on a lot of young guys out here today. And I heard one of the gentlemen say, "We don't want to bite the hand that feeds us." But when I listen to rap music that's talking, glorifying taking pills and money and disrespect for women and all these negative things, it's hard for me to not see a root of a lot of these killings. I understand it starts at home, but a root of a lot of these killings, when the parents are absent, is associated with rap music.
I agree with you.
Y'all gentlemen are in a tough situation because the owner, Kathy Hughes, tremendous amount of respect for this lady. She's built her empire on a part of this rap music. And I don't want to see her lose that.
Well, but let me say something to you. When I said we don't want to bite the hand that feeds us, what a lot of people don't realize is that Radio 1, TV 1 is a business. It's a corporation. Do you realize the listening audience for 92Q is probably 80% white? See, that's what people don't think. They think that only black kids are listening, but really the biggest percentage of listeners to 92Q is white. And so we think and we say, well, she's a merchant of all this chaos and stuff, but that's not the truth. The truth is that she's the only one in this city that's in business that is in the broad. In fact, they've changed the name now, I understand, to Urban One, black culture. Well, we can't deny a part of our culture, even the bad parts of our culture. It's still a part of our culture. And Miss Hughes, let me tell you, the reason she is a black nationalist. Don't get it twisted in your mind. She is a black nationalist. But she knows that she is in business and she's got to stay in business. And that market for 90Q, that's the highest grossing market, I think, on the radio because the advertisers want that market. Well, know what? The people play on there, I agree. Some of it, I don't listen to the station, but I'm not in that age group, and I'm not concerned about it because I know I was once young, and like I told you, my mama told me that Motown was voodoo music. So you can't pick your children's music. You can't pick what they're going to listen to. They're going to go with what their peers do. So I just wanted to be broad, and I didn't mean that in a way that we'd have to shut up because she feeds us or we're on her station. I don't want anybody to get that because I know that she's spending millions of dollars supporting the school down there in Mississippi that her grandfather started. I know she's giving scholarships. I know she's doing millions and millions of dollars in things to support the black community.
Outside of her and Anthony, her son, Alfred Liggins, helping to support our music program.
Exactly. So it's not about talk, and I want you to understand that. I want everybody to understand that America is built on capitalism, and we must learn that we can be we are capitalists. If you're an American, you have the right to be a capitalist. Capitalism is only a problem when it forgets and it stamps on the poor, and it uses the poor to get richer. And the 90% of the white kids ain't poor that's listening to 92Q. Okay, so I hope I made my point. Melvin, does that help you to understand our point of view?
Well, when I made my comment, I did not want to hold Kathy Hughes responsible. I mean, you put it in so like I'm putting.
I just wanted to make sure that wasn't the impression.
That's not my intention. My intention was how do we deal with the negativity of rap music? That was my point.
It's art, but wait a minute. Let me say this. You must remember this is art. Right. That's what we forget as black people. Art is to make the ugly beautiful. But listen to me. Let me listen to you. So that's just be like me telling you that you could remember when they said that R&B music was race music and the white folks wouldn't play it on the white stations. It's still art, and we must realize that art must be allowed to flourish and say what it wants to say. Otherwise, we're stifling creativity. And I just don't feel like we should have a right to do that as an artist myself who's earned my living through art. I was selective about what I did, but I was allowed to express my creativity. Leo?
Yeah, I just want to respond to the caller by saying that rap doesn't necessarily have to be dirty rap. Right. I mean, we're talking about a positive value system that's reflected of black is beautiful and the black values attendant to Kwanzaa and all of those kind of things. What you say in rap music doesn't have to demean women or black women. It doesn't have to have a sexual content necessarily, but again, again, it's our guidance of young people in terms of a positive value system that speaks to how they articulate. You know, the melodies and the sounds is what turns people on, and the rhythm and the beat and the percussion instruments and those. But the wording needs to be reflective of a positive cultural heritage and value system.
And there are successful rappers out there. Look at Chance the Rapper. I mean, perfect example. Clean rapper, clean cut, clean character. I mean,
Amen.
I just saw him recently on an interview. Clean character. So you can have a clean cut.
It's the life that they live, and we can't deny them the
exactly right.
to do it.
And that's what I was going to say, Pat. We fail to realize what folks are going through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And how this music is a reflection of that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So when you got these kids, man, who get sucked into it, because I was a huge Biggie Smalls fan.
Oh, yeah.
The Locks, like New York, like that sound in the 90s, you know what I mean?
Tupac.
What? Like, we were so captivated by it because we felt like they was telling our story.
It was your music. It was your generation speaking.
So if you want to change that, then we need to change the story.
Yeah.
We need to change the scenario.
Thanks, Melvin.
The environment.
Yeah.
Thank you, Melvin.
Yeah.
Dominique, I'm going to coming to you. I think it's Donique. I might have got that. Donique?
It was Dominic.
Dominic, you left the M out. Sorry, sir. We have a question or comment.
I have a comment. I agree with you, brothers. I'm not trying to, go there with you too much. But I feel like what y'all saying is a contradiction because you can't be a black nationalist and capitalize on your people at the same time. You can't. In your day, Mr. Patrick, you had family. You understand? The music you had, regardless if it was good or bad, you had family. Nowadays, these kids, mother and father, are crackheads. So when you have songs like cooking crack with a Uzi in a crock pot, cooking crack with a Uzi, and the kids go outside and everybody's selling crack. Everybody's nodding off. The only successful person with money is the dope dealer or somebody with a gun. And when you go to the stores, like you said, they selling lighters that look like guns. So it's a totally different generation than you. You can say that about the music when your mother and father said, son, you can't listen to this because of this, versus the mother's like, I don't care, let me get 30 cents so I can get my out the gate. It's totally different.
My out to get that means go get high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kids have been influenced by any rapper. You said Tupac and Biggie. Are you serious? You know how many black men I know are in jail to Tupac and Biggie Smalls who got killed?
No. Actually, those men are in jail from the choices that they made, bro. You know what I mean? So
you're right. No, you're right. It was their decision.
Biggie and Tupac ain't come and make nobody do nothing.
Right.
But and see, this is the thing.
I grew up with NWA. I grew up with
So
Ghetto Boys. I mean,
Brother, all due respect, Tupac had a song called "When I Ride on My Enemies." Do you think we need a song?
Tupac is also the only one that wrote a song called "Dear Mama."
Right.
So we have to.
Brother, you know how many black women, black mothers are on crack in the black community?
But who brought the crack in? Who brought the crack in? Who brought the crack in?
Who brought the guns? Who brought the poverty? Who brought the hurt?
But that's what I'm saying. That's why we have to love ourselves more.
Right. Well, I agree with you there.
I completely agree. But we can't say regardless. Right. We can't say but. Every single time that we say who bring this stuff in and why is it this way, everybody say but regardless. But. No, there is no but. This is the outcome of what is. Listen to me. I listen to you. This is the outcome of what already happened.
That's right.
So we cannot. We're constantly once again we're victimizing the victims. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we can't. And the thing is that yes, this is a capitalistic state and everything that you want to call it. But churches are capitalist. You know what I'm saying? Every single one of you that go to listen to me. Every single one of you that go to a church and put $1 in that pot, and not nobody in that church is benefiting the community, the children, nobody. What is that? That's capitalism. Right. See, the thing is that we want to pick and choose. You see what I'm saying? Who we point the finger at, brother. I raise hell with the Muslim community too. I raise hell with the church community. I raise hell within the political arena. I raise hell in my own community with the parents who are sitting around listening to the music while their children are listening to the same music. See, the thing is that we forgot that it was a such thing growing up as adult time and family time.
That's right.
My father or my mother would see me sitting there and listening to them talking about somebody or talking about something going on in the world, and they say, "Get the hell up out of the room."
Yeah, stop looking down my throat.
Who controls? Who controls?
Turned out to be the man you are, brother. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Don't have that.
Yeah, brother. Who controls? Who controls the mass media in this country? Black people?
No.
Do they control the video playing? I mean, we're a little part in it, percentage-wise, but who controls social media? The values that are being promoted by television and radio and the media and extreme fighting and all that is not coming from black folks.
And just real quick,
we're just indoctrinated as part of that structure.
And before you go to the next caller, I gotta say this, man, because we get jumped down these rappers so hard. You know what I'm saying? What about these folks who are sitting in these churches? You know what I mean? That are taking in all this money. And outside of that, rap does not have half of the impact as a movie does.
Many of them are cowards. Wayne, many of them are cowards.
Of course.
They're just sitting in the church. They're just cowards.
Does not have half of the impact of a movie or a sitcom. You see what I'm saying? Y'all don't realize that when you're sitting home and you're watching these movies and you sit there and you watch these sporting events, NBA, NFL, I think that has a negative impact on our community. Because you sit there and watch these games with your children, and then you push this in the agenda in their head when it's less than 1% of us will see the NBA or the NFL.
And they don't pay taxes.
So
NBA and
exactly.
They don't pay any taxes.
This is the thing. We always want to pick and choose, you know what I mean, who the enemy is. At the end of the day, family, it boils down to you, the individual.
With courage.
With courage.
With courage.
You know what I'm saying?
Stand up.
Dale, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment?
Yes, I have a question. I was listening. Very, very interesting what the brother just said, you know, about crack and parental crack. But here's my question. We have a lot of alcoholics in this city.
Amen.
A lot of alcoholics in this city. And I was making a suggestion. Why don't Baltimore City control the liquors and open up Baltimore City liquor stores and take away the license of all the people that have liquor licenses in the city, like Montgomery County?
Because
you know what I'm saying? You know, I used to work in Montgomery County.
Oh, I know, man.
I know how the operation is over there.
Yeah.
And Baltimore City got all these liquor stores.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
And a lot of people.
And the city protects them.
Yes, they do.
The city protects them. And we've been talking about this. Sharon Middleton has been telling us that they're going to be closing them down. I was up on North Avenue. There were 4 liquor stores within a 1 block. 4 liquor stores. I see people in the morning going in there like they're going to get breakfast, going to buy liquor.
Doesn't the state license the liquor?
Yes.
The state is licensing the liquor, and the politicians are getting the kickbacks for their financial campaigns from liquor stores.
And that money
and they're concentrating it in the black community.
It goes back to what Patrick said. It's capitalism at the end of the day. They lobby. Jay Grow is one of the largest lobbyers in City Hall. They fight for theirs. That's what we need to do.
Yes, Dale, come quickly.
Here's my suggestion. All we need to do, control the liquors, open up Baltimore City liquor stores, employ the people in Baltimore City to run it there. That way you're creating jobs, you're creating summer jobs. You don't have to have high schools working in liquor stores.
I agree with you, but we talked about all of the last thing.
But you got to fight the state to make that happen.
I like the way Pennsylvania does it. When you go to Philadelphia, you can't buy no liquor in the city. You got to go out in the county to get a can of liquor or a 6-pack of booze and stuff. They don't allow it in the city. Elijah, come quickly. How are you, sir? Welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. We got 2 more calls, and then we're going to close it down. Come with it, Elijah.
Gentlemen, all I want to say, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes,
sir.
Amen.
That's you. That's the teacher. That's the parent. Everybody.
The mentor.
The last thing I want to say. Is that we need to start getting money. We need our own super PAC. We need to start getting money from the athletes, from others, so we can invest in our community.
Yes, sir.
I know you got to run. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's a wise word, and you're absolutely right, Elijah.
Yeah.
And we got our brother Hampton, one of of our stakeholders. Welcome, brother Hampton.
How y'all doing?
We're good. How are you?
Peace and blessings.
One thing get me uptight is y'all keep talking about the man built a school, first time a school been built in 30 years. That sounds good. But you turn around and she's going to shut down 6 schools. That sounds bad. What I've been hearing the longest time, not just this man, all the man, all with job. And they ain't gave nobody a job. Only job they get is 6 weeks. and the summer. Other than that, there's no job we get. That's what we got to face and fight them with.
Yes,
Have a good day, guys.
Thank you, man. Thank you for saying that. You know what I mean? Because we get caught up in pointing the fingers at everybody, man, when it all boils down to our health and our employment, our education, those things.
Yeah. But the bottom line is, I'm finna tell you in just a minute. Will Hanna, welcome to Patrick Henderson. Meet the people. How are you, Mr. Hanna?
Good afternoon,
Big
fam.
bro.
Good afternoon.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to say something really quick because I called for one reason, but then I heard two callers and I wanted to make two quick points. One on the schools. Not 6 schools that they're closing, there are 26 schools that they're closing. As a result of the school construction bill that everybody celebrated at $1.5 or $1.1 billion school construction. In the bottom of that, there was, in the fiscal note, said that they had to close 26 schools, and they've already started that with Garrison, like the Hughes, keep going down the list. It's 26 schools. With regards to liquor legislation, okay, what was done in Park Heights can be done in any other community in the city. What we did is we changed the hours of operation to when, like Patrick, when you were saying how those guys line up in front of the liquor store at 6 o'clock in the morning, we changed the law in Park Heights. You can't do that. You can't do that. We can't sell alcohol in Park Heights before 9 o'clock in the morning. That's one. Now, it might not sound that big of a difference.
Don't we laugh at everybody?
3 hours of money from 38 liquor stores, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's what happened there. But you guys, y'all always put it out there, and I love how y'all put out there where people can get it and where they can understand it. And that's just all I was calling to just appreciate y'all.
Well, I hope before you go, there's a meeting with George Mitchell and Rennie Bass. And is that what day is that? Is C.C. Jackson?
That's going to be on June 27th.
Yes.
June 27th.
And that meeting, let me say something really quick about that, is that meeting, actually, the city had planned to do that meeting without anybody in the community to talk about the future of Langston Hughes. They planned to do that without us. So George got a hold of it. I got a hold of a few of us that are already that are in Park Heights. We're like, okay, so where did this come from? That they were planning to do something with the school building that they closed without us wanting to close it, and then we're going to make a plan for it without us being involved in it. So my thing, and George will appreciate this as well as the noise listening, is that everybody that can hear these airwaves needs to be at C.C. Jackson on the 27th.
Okay. What time? What time?
But everybody needs to be at C.C. Jackson.
What time?
Everybody in the city. If there's anything that's
what time, Will?
You need to be at C.C. Jackson.
What time? What time?
I believe it's at 6. I could be wrong, but we'll check back with George. You can put it out on Facebook.
There's not a meeting going on this week at C.C. Jackson, another meeting where men are coming together. There's not something happening interimly that we'll find out what it is, and we'll try to get it to you.
Keep everybody posted.
Keep everybody posted. But on the 27th at 6 p.m. at C.C. Jackson, we're coming together to talk about it. I know George is really trying to get a library up in Park Heights, but I want a library learning center. I don't want just a library. We need a learning center up there that we can incorporate the kids not only learning but teaching skills and doing all sorts of things. Thank you, William, for
arts and technology.
That's what we like to do up there.
And shout out to Big Brother George Mitchell, who's also following us on Facebook, watching the show. And shout out to
George.
Valerie
Call
Keys.
in right quick if you could. George, if you could call in, let us know about the meeting. I thought it was something happening this Wednesday.
And shout out to you, Sister Valerie Keys, who says it takes all of us residents to hold ourselves accountable.
Yes, it does. And she talked about mental health, I think.
Yes.
Which is the beginning of my topic and my rant for the balance of this show. We can hope, we can dream, we can even scheme. But until we realize that we will do nothing without the family, everything starts in the family. The child is born into a family, hopefully. Somebody that loves him, supposed to love him. Somebody's supposed to care for them for the rest of their lives, especially until they're 18. But we don't realize that even when they're in the womb, they're listening. A lot of people don't realize. My mother had 7 children, and I have one brother, the third brother, who was more acrimonious and angrier than any of the rest of the children in the family. And you know what she said to me? She said she figured out why. She said when she married my father, she was a virgin. And he loved her and she loved him. But as time went on, by the time they got to that third child, they were having problems. And she was angry all the time, Wayne. She was always just totally riled up. So my third brother came here the tall, dark, handsome, athlete, brilliant mind, angry at the world. She said, Patrick, something happened in the womb because I was pissed off all the time. That affected him. Because none of the rest of you all are like that. We don't think about that. Stress is a killer, and it's a killer in more than one way. If these young girls having these babies, they angry, they get called the B word by their own mothers, by their own family members, by the rappers, by the peers. They're put down. All they want is their boyfriends. All they want is they don't think the only value they have is their little coochies. And then when they get passed around, because don't nobody, the other boys want it, oh no, well I done had that, I'm moving on, and they don't feel like they have any value. So then they're angry at the world. Now who do they bring in the world? They're angry, so who are they going to bring in the world? Angry children. So then no, that ain't all. So what happens is they have those children, and then those children come, and they've never seen wholeness wane. The mother has never seen peace in her life. She's never been respected. So how can she teach a child something that she's never seen? So then she tells her child, as he gets ready to go to school, if somebody hits you, you hit them back. Not go tell the teacher. No, you take care of your business is what they say. Okay? So then that kid goes to school, and somebody steps on his shoe, and he knocks the way out of them. Or he's been involved or exposed to lead paint, and he doesn't have the right reasoning in his mind to do it. I see it every day. The kids, they hit each other, they play with each other in fun, they accuse each other, they tell on each other, constantly trying to get each other in trouble. Where does that come from? It comes from home. I see parents come and pick up their children, and their kid has had a long day just like their parent has. It wasn't the same kind of work. But they don't say, hey, baby, how was your day? Get your stuff and let's get out of here. I notice the parents that come in and grab their kids and say, hey, baby, how was your day? They are rare and few.
In a hostile fashion.
And there's this constant hostility. So then the kid gets used to that being the norm. And once he gets used to that being the norm, then that's the way he operates. And he grows into that. So then you can understand why these revenge killings are happening. Because he's been told, somebody do something to you, you get them. Nobody bothers to tell a kid. And I'm going to admit it. I tell my kids, no, you don't get them right then. No, you don't do it. But if your mama told you to do that, you feel like doing something, wait till you get out there on the playground and ask him, you want to deal with me now? Okay? And don't be trying to hurt him. Put your fist up ready to fight him. Don't be going out there acting like you're going to kill somebody because to life is too important. Now, people might say, Patrick, that's a little weird that you would say that. But I can't tell them not to do it when their mama telling them to do it. Just like the little kids that come in there cursing. And the kids say, oh, he cursed. First thing I ask the kid, do your mom and your daddy curse? They say, yeah. I said, well, I can't do nothing about that because that's what your mom and daddy do. But I can tell you don't curse here.
But their parents indoctrinate them to do that to other black children.
I know, and that's the bad part.
They don't do anything to white people.
I know.
White people do anything to them, and they have a whole different standard of how they respond
and that's the problem.
To white oppression.
It shouldn't be at all, though. Then that's the reason our kids, this is what I'm saying, Joe Manco, the principal of the school, this comes starting September, we're going to be doing mindfulness. We're going to be taking the kids into meditation because it's being proven to work that once they can focus and get their minds off of the things to clear that they can function. So we got to find a way. It ain't nothing but prayer, no matter what y'all understand, but it's about prayer, about you centering your mind and clearing your mind. And our children need the church is disappointing us. Our family is disappointing us. It looks like the only place we have is the schools. And if we can't get the schools right, our children are lost.
We got to persevere.
We got to persevere. We can't keep away in there. We got to go, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Listen, you've been listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. My people.
Praise God and pass the ammunition.
Yes. If my people who are called by my name, who would humble themselves and pray and meditate and love each other. Just that simple word, that four-letter word, love each other, understand each other, stop accusing each other, stop attacking each other, stop stealing from each other, stop lying on each other, stop putting each other down.
Amen.
And realize that we are all one. We are all our skin.
Amen.
We can't change our skin color. All we need to do is change our hearts and believe that we can and we will. God bless you. Say goodbye, Wayne.
Peace. Love you, family.
Say goodbye. Oh, yeah. And one more thing. The Roots of Scouting, they're having their big event. It's on June the 17th. It's coming up. We'll tell you more about it. 12 noon, and we don't want y'all to miss it because it's a fundraiser. We'll post it on Facebook.
Grades for cuts, y'all. Grades for cuts. Reflection Internal Barbershop. 2431 St. Paul. Free haircuts for bring your kid out with your report card.
And where is that again?
That's 2431 St. Paul Street. Shout out to 300 Gangsters putting this together.
Yes, Leo, bless you.
Praise the Lord.
Well, y'all.
And pass the ammunition for justice.
You've been listening to Patrick Henderson Meet the People. Kathy Hughes, we love you. Thank you for this opportunity. And teaching every one of you who listen to us every week, we ask you to cover us as we will cover you.
Yes,
God bless. Have a great week. Speak to you on Sunday at 3:30 on Spirit 1400. You've been listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010 Baltimore. Bye-bye.
Amen.
WOLB Baltimore, a Radio 1 station where information is power, and the official station of the Universal Circus at Security Square Mall, May 31st through June 18th.
WOLB would like to welcome our new Saturday talk show, The Real Estate Hour, sponsored by Exit Spivey Professional Real